Hi, welcome back to our podcast, Good Deeds Real Estate with a Mission. My name is Nicole Quinn with the Fine Homes Group at Keller Williams, and I'm here with Bill Weidecker. Hey, Bill, how are you today?
I am just, well, how can you not be great where we get this sort of last dose of late spring, early summer feeling in terms of weather?
I know, yeah. It's been a real treat.
It certainly has. So I'm doing great. Thank you.
Good. Here you have some wisdom for us today, huh?
Well, there's a saying, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah.
And so we're in a market where it feels similar to markets I've been in the past,
Okay.
where it feels like it's changing a little bit. And what I mean by that is, while inventory's still low, and while we still have a market that's favorable to sellers, we're seeing, as you and I had a conversation, some things going on with buyers that might seem a little more favorable to the buyers out there.
Yes.
Interest rates have closed in on 8%. And that seems to be a point where now people are having a discussion. Well, do I extend my rent for another year and wait? Do I buy a house and lock in today's price? Where are prices going to be in a year?
Yeah.
All of those things. And I can talk a little bit to it is that, there's this saying in the industry, and it's been as long as I've been at it, is people don't live in the price as much as they live in the payment. Meaning, what's it going to cost me every month?
Right.
And, now that mortgage rates have gone from in the 3s to in the high 7s, that's a point where people are looking at it long and hard and saying, I wonder.
Yeah.
And you talked a little bit about some of the things you've encountered out there in the marketplace. What have you heard or what have you seen?
Well, what I've been seeing, like you said, is a little bit more of a buyer-friendly situation. So, buyers competing a little bit less with other buyers, meaning that they can ask for things that make more sense for them in their terms, which is great news for them. I think, in a way, good on the sell side too, because it's nice to see things like home inspections coming back, because those are actually pretty important. The other thing that I'm seeing, though, is there's a little bit of a sense of almost more buyer's remorse early on in transactions. I'm seeing a lot of people putting in offers and then either withdrawing them or walking away from them before they even make their deposit sometimes. And I think that's almost a symptom of buyers still having this sense of urgency that they have to make an offer before they really have time to think it through, because that's been the environment we've been in for the last few years. But now that they have this higher interest rate, there's more coming out of their pocket every month, and they're like, wait a second, I'm going to be paying how many dollars, and I also have to fix this, this, and this in this place. So it becomes a little bit more, I think it's a little heavier, especially on first-time home buyers. Yeah.
Well, and for sellers out there, while the market is still a seller's market, I'll give you an analogy. The New England Patriots were so good for so long that I think local sports fans didn't realize how good they had it until it was kind of over, till Tom Brady left. And while they've been varying degrees of competitiveness in the last few years, it was nothing like it was. And that's kind of the way I feel now about the current market for sellers. It's still a very good market, and on any given day, sellers can do really well.
Yes.
It has not turned into a buyer's market.
No.
And yet, the terms and the conditions and the velocity of offers, to have 30 or 40 offers now seems to be way more the exception than the rule was a few years ago, yes?
Oh, agreed. Definitely agreed.
So it's not that you're not going to get multiple offers, it's just that you're not going to get so many.
Yeah.
And say, well, what's the pick of the litter that we've got here?
Yeah.
It might be one of two or one of three. And I do have this sense that what we're going to see now is let the lending institutions out there are going to start to look at all kinds of different products as well. Word of caution to those that are buyers is that if you're looking at a payment, realize, there's this sort of cry out there. I had a very good friend and colleague who said, there are people in the mortgage industry and in the real estate industry just nationwide in some cases saying, just get it today and you can always refinance. Well, you can always refinance assuming that the rates are lower. And I do believe long term that the rates are going to be lower. I just can't tell you when. And so if you buy today with the assumption, well, I'll refinance next spring, I don't think that's a good bet. It might be, but it might not be.
Yeah.
And anybody that says it will be definitively is not accurate.
Yeah.
And so I think you've got to just sort of figure out, can I make the payment today? Is it affordable? How, what percentage of my income am I laying out there?
Mm-hmm.
And, good professionals want to see you be able to sell your house. They want to see you be able to buy a house. And the timeline is yours, not ours. And so for those that say, well, you really need to buy now, that's your call, right?
Yeah. So what I'm hearing, as someone who's out there day to day, what's important for the buying public right now, you need to be working with a knowledgeable local lender who, first of all, understands all of the products that are available to you,
Mm-hmm.
but will also inform you of what your monthly payment is going to look like, and work with you property by property to kind of prepare you in advance so you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. And the other thing is to be working with a realtor who is really good with their negotiation skills, because you're going to need them now more than ever.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
And on both sides of the transaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, there are going to be, I think this is a market that favors the skilled
Mm-hmm.
and favors the professionals. And there's this interesting concept in our business, Nicole, and that is, it's called the law of equilibrium.
Mm-hmm.
And that as home sales rise on a national level, the realtor population rises behind it.
Yep.
As more opportunities increase, more people get into the industry. Well, if that's true, and it is, then the converse or the inverse is also true. Meaning, when things go the other way, realtor population trails behind it. So we're going to see that happen as well. Those that are in it for the good times, or those that are, don't possess the good negotiating skills that you talked about, will likely be the ones that leave first. And that's not to say a brand new agent doesn't have skills. They do.
Yep.
In some cases, they have more skills than an experienced agent.
For sure.
Because there are some that have been in the business for 30, 40 years like me, but they've never really updated their abilities.
Right.
And so in the last 10, 15 years, it's been a market that's favored anybody with a license. And now we're noticing, because the amount of volume of transactions closing is less, we are seeing people starting to leave the industry.
Yeah.
That's good news for the consumer, in my opinion, because only the best survive.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's very true. All right, Bill. Well, that was, as usual, very helpful and informative.
My pleasure.
Thank you guys very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on your favorite podcast platform.